Hi everyone, here in this video we are going to discuss about some factors regarding income tax which we all need to be aware of. Let's see what are the topics we are going to discuss in this video. So we are going to get familiarized with the history of income tax, sources of income tax law in India, and the basis and procedure of income tax computation. Now let's go for the first topic, history of income tax. We all are too familiar with the term income tax. We used to use it again and again. But have you thought from where did this come from, or when did India came to know of it? Let's find answers to all of them now. Basically, our star of the video, income tax, is a bit old guy because more than 3000 years ago itself, the inhabitants of ancient Egypt and Greece used to pay income tax. Actually, in India, taxes were levied even in ancient times, says Manusmriti and Arthashastra. But in a solid form, it got introduced in India for the first time in 1860. It was introduced by the then British finance member Sir James Wilson. However, we can say it was not introduced out of light by him. There was a specific intention behind it. Can you guess what it was? Yes, seeing the year 1860, we can just rewind our thoughts to the period of India's first war of independence. So, he introduced income tax concept in order to meet heavy expenses and losses suffered by the rulers due to our freedom movement in 1857. Actually, at that time they thought income tax to be a temporary revenue measure for 5 years, but it still exists with all its glory even today in India. Now we can see what all changes happened to it over years. Years passed by and the concept income tax also undergone some changes. First Income Tax Act came into existence in the year 1886. It underwent some changes and a new act in 1918 was passed. Again, after some modifications, a new act in 1922 came into force, which existed till 1961 to 62 period. In between this, our India became independent, and in 1959, the central government asked the Direct Taxes Administration Committee to prepare a report on tax and related matters, and finally, the Income Tax Act 1961 was passed. And this Income Tax Act 1961 came into force on 1st April 1962. So it is this Income Tax Act 1961 which is still prevailing in India, undergoing certain amendments. Another thing to be noted is that it is applicable all over India, including the state Jammu and Kashmir. So that's all about the history of income tax. Now we can move to the next topic, that is the sources of income tax law in India. Sources of income tax law generally means what all components have to be considered by the income tax authority while implementing the income tax law upon persons. So, there are 5 things to be taken care of by income tax authority generally. The first and foremost thing is the Income Tax Act 1961. That is, the income tax authority should perform the functions only as specified by the Act. Along with this, the other factors to be considered are the Annual Finance Act, Income Tax Rules 1962, then the clarifications and circulars by CBDT, and the judicial decisions. So here, I hope that Income Tax Act 1961 we have discussed earlier and it's clear for you. Then comes the Annual Finance Act and Income Tax Rules 1962. So now you may be wondering of what is the CBDT actually is. So CBDT means the Central Board of Direct Tax, which is the apex body of tax in India. So it is said that the Income Tax Authority, while performing its functions upon the persons regarding income tax matters, it should consider the clarifications and circulars issued by CBDT. Then comes the 5th point, that is the judicial decisions, that is the decisions made by the court regarding income tax matters. So all these 5 points as mentioned here are the things to be taken care of by the income tax authority while executing the functions as specified in income tax law upon the persons in India. Now the final topic is basis and procedure of income tax computation. The first point is that income tax is an annual tax. I think we all are pretty aware of that because income tax is a type of tax which is charged year-wise. Another point says that the income tax is computed on the total income of every person in accordance with the provisions of Act. That is, the total income of a person is considered on computing tax. To say more clearly, we can say that income tax is a type of tax which is computed on the total income earned by a person in India. So here the term total income should be emphasized more. Then it is said that the tax rates are fixed by the Annual Finance Act as specified in Section 2, subsection 31. That is, it's obvious that it will not be the same amount of tax collected from all persons in India. So, there is a thing called rate here. That is, from each person tax is collected on different rates as specified in Section 2, subsection 31 of the Annual Finance Act. The next point says that the income of the previous financial year will be taxed in the following financial year. That is, only when a whole financial year is completed, we would be able to compute tax upon the whole income earned in the same. So we all know that a financial year is considered to be from 1st April to the 31st March of the next year. So say the financial year is 1st April 2018 to 31st March 2019. Only on 1st April 2019, that is the next financial year, we would get the complete picture of the whole income of the last year. Then only we can compute tax on it. The income tax can be deducted at source or paid in advance. It means either we can pay the tax before getting the income in hand, or it will be deducted right from the source, that is the whole income, once it is credited to our account. So that's all about the basis and procedure of income tax computation. The 3 topics, namely history of income tax, sources of income tax law in India, and basis and procedure of income tax computation, have been discussed. I hope it's clear for you all.